Okay. Welcome, everybody. Today is Wednesday, May 6th, another episode of Sheltering with the Supes. Today we are with 3rd District Supervisor Mike Wilson. Mike, how's it going today?
Pretty good. I am sheltering in the shed.
Nice, nice. And
I'm in the shed.
I understand you have a lot of backgrounds to set against your green screen.
Well, I got a green sheet here,
Uh-huh.
which helped, and so yep, I'm in the shed, sheltering with the soup. So today's soup is Campbell's soup,
Very good.
maybe,
Very
or it could be French onion soup. I have that. Maybe some noodle soup there. That looks pretty good. I think it's a faux.
That does look good.
I don't know, some kind of artichoke heart
Is that a
soup.
sardine soup?
Yeah,
No.
miso soup. I got a lot of good soups you could have since you're sheltering. I don't know about you, but we're doing a lot of cooking. There's a lot of cooking going on. For sure.
We haven't had that much soup.
Plenty of soups.
You have a variety of soups. You are literally sheltering with the soups, plural.
So much soup, and it is in my shed. So since I'm in my shed, it's like I have spray paint and jars of nails.
Not to include in your soup.
Macrame, unicorns, whatever you want. We have it in the shed. Here we go. Let's get official. Hold on. I'm going to get official. Hold on. It's getting official and official.
Very nice. Sets the tone. Very nice.
Okay.
So on to some updates related to COVID. We have a couple questions. Want to update the community with some of the topics of concern. So first question is, and it's going to be a long one. I will read it verbatim though.
Well, that is a really great question. This is a time of a lot of anxiety with regards to our community. It's not just our business community, which is really important in our economy, which is tied into everything we do, but our culture and our families. And so let's talk about what you're talking about specifically in terms of phased approach for the economy part of this. And understanding that there is currently no cure, no vaccination, and no therapeutic remedy yet for this virus, since we have to be very careful in how we approach everything. So the governor has put forth a 4-phase plan to try and move us back, or at least forward. I don't know if we'll ever go back. I mean, everything's forward to being, having a functioning economy at some point, and that timeline is pretty long. But in the current context, we're going to be moving into phase 2 of that 4-phase, and that really is focusing a lot on retail, a lot of the smaller retail, getting those back up and running in some form or another. We're really talking about doing curbside and those sorts of things, so people being safe. But more than that, businesses are going to have plans. They're going to have to have those certified through the county, through the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center. Those plans will be available to the public. There will be signage upon certification for these businesses, and the public that does business with these places will have an opportunity there'll be a number if they feel like they're not having confidence in that, or maybe they're thinking they're doing a great job and they have a way to express that too. So I think it's pretty important that feedback loop is maintained when we move this thing forward. To be specific about your question about health sport, those kinds of things, that's really, as far as I understand, is for the more phase 3, where there's lots of people coming together, like movie theaters and those sorts of things. And those protocols have not been developed yet that I know of, but we'll certainly see how that works out. And in terms of dining in restaurants, also, again, that's more of a phase 3. We're seeing a lot of adaptations by our restaurants currently in this phase approach and their ability to produce food for our community, both in delivery services and pickup. And I know certainly I have taken great advantage of that myself and had some wonderful meals, and I encourage others to do the same. Okay.
It's good. It's good for the community to know those things.
Right.
Looking forward to seeing seeing those signs pop up all over our community. I know that there's a lot of businesses that are eager to take advantage of these opportunities. Even though they'll be required in a lot of cases to modify their services.
And I want to really emphasize too, if there's any questions that anyone has, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's about the business part of things or whether I've heard this term COVID foot. I don't even know what that is. But if you want to find out what it is, you can call 441-5000. That's 441-5000 and have all of your questions answered.
All right. So the next question we have is about schools.
Okay, a school question. Let me see. Do I have a background? Ha-ha! How do you like that?
Very appropriate.
You like that? Yeah,
yes.
Random there. So here I am in front of the periodic table. So with regards to school districts, or they're individually working on their return policies. So I don't know what they are. I can certainly empathize with the with everybody on this: parents, teachers, kids. I mean, I have two kids. One is back from college. One is in junior high. We're all trying to manage this online schooling situation, and I can tell you it is extremely frustrating and difficult to deal with, and that's because of the situation. The teachers are doing a huge job. The administrators, it's just so I'm just so thankful that everyone's working as hard as they are on this. I mean, now I have teachers that have to be IT experts for families, and certainly not every family has the same resources to adapt to this, and that's also very hard to deal with as well. But I want to emphasize that that I've been in contact with is working really hard to figure this out. But as far as I know, I have not heard of any announcements of early openings for any of the local schools. And again, they're all doing it individually in terms of each district is doing their own planning with that. And I recommend reaching out to your local school district if you can, and have some empathy with regards to they're just trying to get through the end of the school year right now under a very difficult situation. So certainly the summertime will probably be a better time to really have those kinds of interactions, but that's as much as I know.
Yeah, there's no kind of overarching entity that controls all the schools in Humboldt County. There's a lot of different districts, some very small districts, and they are all governed by their own board of trustees, I think, or school boards. So those places are the places for those answers.
Just 1 second. I want to put a shout out to the school districts that are still providing food and lunches to kids that are really needing it. And I just have seen, it's just been wonderful to see that. And because, schools aren't just a place. I was just talking about the education learning part, the social network, and even really the basics like food for a lot of kids is coming from these institutions. And I think it's again, thank you to everybody who's working on that stuff.
Yeah. The last question that we have is about the community survey that went out last week. There was a few different surveys. There was one for the state, and then one for Humboldt County that went out. So
well, let's see. Let me find the appropriate background for that. That looks good. The various districts of Humboldt County. And here we are, the 3rd district. That's me. So there was a survey that was put out 2 weeks ago, I guess, and last week came in, and that was put out by the EOC again. It was not put out by the supervisors. I want to be clear about that. It's not in our bailiwick, but it was basically, it is about asking people about businesses and services that they are interested in, and more, kind of ranking what they're anxious about. And there was some feedback with regards to that, and I can relate to this, to this criticism of thinking, well, if you're doing these surveys, is just the most popular businesses going to be open first? And I want to be really clear that that's not what this was about. In my conversation with the sheriff and the public health officer was, this is just to inform, where people are at in this, and sort of look for things that they aren't maybe seeing already or understand. And it is interesting, that the survey results that did come back, and then they had been what was, kind of what people were interested in and focusing on, and highlighting. And I want to put out there that, things that were kind of the most popular stuff, and again, it's not about popularity, it's really going to be about safety and the abilities of our, of staff and everybody to help all these segments move forward. But campgrounds were very, very important. People are really pushing about these outdoor spaces and having access to that, and I absolutely can relate to that. I think it's extremely important to think about those things. And some of the other places that people were into, libraries and bookstores were things that people were in, salons, spas, and outdoor recreation in general. So really, those types of spaces. Now, understanding, like, it still doesn't really address how we interact in those spaces or don't interact in those spaces. And those are the conundrums and the challenges of how we all may or may not move forward with this. But that is kind of how we're looking at those things. So I think it's important that we think about all of those things, and including the businesses too, that need to operate in order to provide us with services, but only if it can be done in a safe manner, and only if it's in a way that is again, safe. I don't know how else to say it. I'll just say it over and over. It's just got to be safe.
Yeah, the safety is the primary concern. And,
Yeah.
what Dr. Frankovich and the sheriff have said, they're going to be looking at likely lower risk businesses first. But these survey results are important because they inform us and people who are making these decisions, the health officer and the sheriff, namely, about where the community is at. But yeah, you're dead right. Is that the safety is, first and foremost in all these decisions.
Yeah, and I think it was helpful to know too that we did get a lot of responses from folks giving a lot of caution to how we move forward. There was a lot of responses about suggestions about how their business or organization, again, when I say business, I could nonprofits, art institutions, all these various things, how they could creatively address some of these things and offer some value to the community for what they do. And so that information is being fed into, again, back to the OES and public health, because they don't have all the information, and they don't run those businesses on their day-to-day. And so they do need that feedback, because in the end, all these places are going to have to get certified as to being, I guess, safer, and safe. And so we're going to have that information in that feedback loop. And so I think it was helpful in that regard. But we'll see. Again, we're just in the beginning stages of phase 2 and of a 4-phase and again, I put in quotes, reopening, it is methodical, and it will be hopefully, and I think that everyone will be working very hard in the safest manner possible.
Yeah, it's going to be a big week this week and the next couple weeks as we wait to see what the state unveils for their guidelines, and then see how Humboldt County kind of reacts to that. But it is a time for hope also.
Yeah,
because
I mean,
we can start to see
and
some signs that we're going to be reopening more things.
And extreme caution. I
Yes.
mean, there is, opening, whatever that means, however small that is, there are always risks involved with all of these things. And so nothing about this is going to be easy. And I really, extreme caution is very important in all of this. So And I want people to really know that again, if they have questions or concerns, calling 441-5000 is a good place to start. And I know many people have called that number and then been directed to somewhere else, which has been, more focused on the issue that they're interested in, whether it's like business loans or whether it's mental health stuff or whatever it is. That number, the folks there are great. Call it 441-5000.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you for taking some time to share some information with us, Supervisor Wilson.
Look, I'm on vacation. Ha, just joking. No one's taking vacations now. So. I can only dream.
Only dream. Someday we will get back.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for the
Aloha.
time.